I'm telling people is I never compromised and sold out because I knew history. I wanted to really change things and really be a good person in my life. And so far, in 21 years of fighting, we have broken through as the InfoWar and are now recognized as one of the main pillars left of Americana. That's how we're seen by the good guys in the government. We're seen as America. We're what's left. I'm going to get into all the Hillary stuff in the clips in the next segment and take your phone calls. I want to get back to what I was talking about in the last segment right now, just to illustrate the fact that everything the mainstream media does is to try to act like people that are aware of world government, aware of the globalist plan, are a bunch of fringe nut kooks that think flying saucers are going to land in their backyard any minute. And that just doesn't work anymore. Because the truth is, we are facing a private world corporate government that's unelected taking over, and we're going to force that debate no matter how much internet control there is, no matter how many people they try to lock up. That genie's out of the bottle. So I'm just trying to announce to listeners that InfoWars and our small organization has already caused the world government plan massive problems because of you, the tens of millions of listeners that are out there spreading the word and taking action. And so I'm not going to let it demoralize me to look at that witch Hillary and all the crimes she's committed and the persecution of the Christians and funding ISIS and Al-Qaeda and Benghazi and Obama and the Fast and Furious and just the, Obamacare and the scams and all the rest of it and knowing how racist the Clintons are and just knowing how phony they are. The fact that Democrats didn't support her, the fact that the grassroots didn't support her, the fact that we couldn't hardly find any Hillary supporters, even in L.A. on primary day, it was like 8 out of 10 were for Sanders. At the polling places, most of them were for Sanders, but she still won because she stole the superdelegates. It came out in the news that CNN and AP had a meeting the day before at a home with the wealthy superdelegates who were just appointed by the party, and that they decided Hillary was going to win California. And that was on the news the next day. Oh, we had a meeting. We decided you go ahead and go vote. And you're like, well, that shows we're under horrible tyranny. But at least it's out in the open now. They've never had to sit there and openly ignore the popular vote and openly admit they're ignoring it. It's so naked. They can't hide it anymore. They're having to openly steal stuff at high noon. They're having to have Hillary be above the law and have the FBI director come out and fall on his sword for her and for Loretta Lynch. So there's no way this can just go on and on and on because her own people don't support her. Yeah, they'll get all whipped up into fervor and, again, Democrat versus Republican, Pepsi versus Coke, divide and conquer tribalism, same stuff we talked about earlier. Sure, they'll do that. It'll work for a while. But it's not going to work forever, ladies and gentlemen. And so that's the positive news I'm trying to get at here, is that as an average person out there who's just working hard and trying to take care of their family and trying to have a decent life and trying to be a good person, you may feel demoralized sometimes seeing all this bad stuff going on. But I'm telling you, I'm somebody who's on a lot of radio stations and TV stations, and I'm somebody that gets demonized all over mainstream media, and I'm somebody that reaches 20-plus million people conservatively. It's like 26, 27 million people every week, half of that in the U.S., and all I get is my dinner bought for me, and all I get is pats on the back, and all I get is even trendies and people from foreign countries and every race, color, and creed supporting me. I wear obnoxious Make America Great Trump hats downtown, and liberals laugh and love it. I've seen a few that get mad by it, and I just wear it to practice not caring what people think and to really test things. But as a public figure and someone who's been successful in breaking through into the political discourse, I can tell you that freedom is the most popular thing in the world right now, and liberty is rising, and the, quote, conspiracy culture of not believing known liars and studying how the world really works, that is growing. You know, they created like a quasi-racist, weird, kooky, infighting, government-manipulated conspiracy culture when the internet started really getting big 20 years ago that was pretty much government-run, about half of it. But the internet got so big, and so many people, listen to me, this is key, got online with blogs and their own videos and articles, that the feds couldn't get them all to infight anymore. And so we basically transcended that the last 5 years, the trolling and the infighting to a great extent. Probably 90% of it's been transcended. And now there's just mass awakening happening. It's beautiful. It's very, very beautiful. We've taken the internet over. We're winning the info war, as Hillary said. They're losing. And it's a wonderful time to be alive. So let me just give you the good news. And I'm not doing a pep talk here. I kind of got down about the Hillary thing until I really, in retrospect, have thought about it. We're making a tyrant act like a tyrant. So congratulations to all of you out there, all of us human beings wanting justice, wanting liberty, unified in our love of human empowerment and open free culture and our red blood. All right, I want to run over some clips, cover some news, take your calls. We have several guests joining us. I probably should get Larry Nichols to pop back in today, too, because he was on Friday. And he said Hillary will not be indicted, and Comey is going to come out and say there isn't enough evidence to do it, and exactly what he said happened. And he also told me off record that a high-level government official told him of the next big bank that was going to be announced to go down this week. When he told me that off air, I went and Googled it, and it was not in the news. It is in the news today. So I've got Kit Daniels, who just notified me of it, printing the article for me right now. So I tell you, Larry Nichols is dialed in, folks. He is certainly dialed in. He's right about 95% of the time. And he says they're getting ready for a total financial collapse. They're just trying to push it off until Trump gets in to blame him. But, I mean, if Trump gets in and a month later the whole economy collapses, is the public that dumb to actually think Trump did it? I don't know. In 1929, they had some nationalists get in that were doing better trade deals for the U.S., and then they imploded the stock market and blamed them. So, you know, this has been done before, and history certainly repeats. It certainly rhymes. Finishing up with what I was covering earlier, and CJ made the point, the real trolls aren't successful causing all the infighting anymore and turning the culture of questioning government into just a big mindless infight. But the bots are out there spewing racism, spewing divide and conquer from all sides, and people need to just be aware of that and move forward with reaching out to other people, warning them about globalism, and talking about the alternatives of a true free market society. Capitalism and open free market creates the thousands of choices, the hundreds of different designs of automobiles, many of them affordable, the incredible housing, the incredible medicine. Corruption comes in and then tries to consolidate control and tries to have government pick winners and losers. Crony capitalism, which uses grassroots socialism to keep the public stagnant and domesticated. And they admit that. The Bilderberg Group came out this year in a public press release. That, boy, I thought it didn't exist. New York Times, just 8-9 years ago, said I was insane. It didn't exist. They actually said I was insane, didn't exist. They said I was in a parking lot in Virginia, stumbling around, having a full schizophrenic meltdown. It said, believing men in black cars with black sunglasses were following me. This was a film review of a film crew following us. Where they had armored cars, Secret Service, Marines. They were aiming MP5 HKs at us on video. This is in the film. And the New York Times said that I was having a schizophrenic meltdown. That'd be like if you were at the Super Bowl and the Goodyear blimp was above you with a Coca-Cola ad and everyone sees it, and then the news just says, no, you didn't see a blimp. That's the level of stuff they're engaged in. I would get on elevators at the hotel we were staying at 5 miles away, and they would have giant Marine Corps officers, now later on they were Marines, get on the elevator with me and basically start threatening me. We had them come over to our dinner tables and say, hey, Alex, let's attack the State Department tomorrow. I guess that would give them some jurisdiction to come after us. I'd be like, oh, really? And then we had these journalists with us, and they're like, hey, I think those guys are cops. And I go, oh, really? You think they're cops? Because I was sitting there eating my hamburger, laughing at them. Oh, my God. It's just so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that all we were doing was showing the secret meeting, that nobody went. Hillary and Obama went into it. After she was there, the next day she comes out and says she's not going to seek the nomination anymore. Remember all that? And the media for a day is like, where's Hillary? Where's Obama? They've disappeared. We were there because, you know, we're delusional. The New York Times said so. Imagine, again, how it preys on its audience, on its readers who think they're really getting the big inside scoop from the New York Times. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. Oh, guess who did link to our stories written by Paul Joseph Watson and our photos of the Secret Service and the armored sedans and the diplomatic plates and the Marines flipping us off? DrudgeReport.com. First, to help take, kind of like the Drudge Report was like the bow and the arrow and the guy firing the arrow, but InfoWars stories with the arrow. And now, notice how the worms turn. Brexit, global government in trouble, world population's waking up, nationalism rising, Bilderberg out in the open. Oh, but I digress. Bilderberg, that's how my brain works, came out with a press release a month ago. Remember, we covered it. And said, here's what's on our agenda. And of course, this is only part of what was on the agenda, but here's what's on our agenda. We have a prize-winning economist coming to speak to us about the precariat and how we made everybody poor on purpose to control them, and how we're going to put everybody on welfare by law worldwide, controlled by us, to make sure you don't get too uppity, to control populations for coming civil unrest. Exactly what we said their whole project has always been. They now put press releases out. And Zuckerberg comes out in the New York Times a month or 2 weeks ago. Let's pull it up. It's 2.5 weeks ago. And says, here's the headline: Mark Zuckerberg covers up his webcam, and you should too. No. And here's why you should too, if memory serves. Mark Zuckerberg covers up his webcam, and here's why you should. Oh, there it is. Mark Zuckerberg covers his laptop camera. You should consider it too. Nice test of my memory. I really flummoxed that one. I used to have a photographic memory. I'm 42, and my brain don't work as good as it used to. Still works really good, but it's not photographic anymore. It's like photographic pre-35. I remember everything before that, like I'm an elephant, and everything after that. It's kind of nice to start losing a little bit of your memory, though. As the body just slowly numbs itself, you know, easing you into getting older. Isn't that cute? Isn't that sweet? He warns you about surveillance. Look at his little vampire teeth. He loves you and your family. There's articles today about how they openly are controlling the election and bragging they can throw the election. But here's the toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231, 800-259-9231. What do you think about what's happening? What do you think about what's unfolding? Now, Silicon Valley elites buying huge amounts of land for secret compounds. We have the nouveau riche preparing to seclude themselves from the general public with double walls, floodlights, security compounds, bunkers, and, of course, guardhouses. And by the way, those are just their staging grounds outside major populated areas to their escape zones, where they have underground armored redoubts, luxury compounds on top, and airfields able to take wide-body aircraft and, of course, helicopter pads. You think Zuckerberg and the folks at Google and Apple and everywhere else, not just Facebook, you think the technocrats are doing all this because they just feel like doing it? No, they are setting up a worldwide meltdown of control. According to Silicon Valley Insider, the nouveau riche are buying up, this is in mainstream news, but Paul's writing about it, up huge amounts of land so they can build private compounds to seclude themselves away from the general public. And then it goes on with the London Telegraph reporting on it. Yeah, Paul might want to add a few of my videos to that article where I've been breaking it down and warning people briefly. And then I'm going to play a few of these Hillary clips and go right to your phone calls. Briefly, we are extending the sale of 20 to 40% off on the super high quality, full spectrum of storable foods at InfoWarsStore.com. 20 to 40% off. Survival Shield Ace and Iodine X2. This is just for emergencies. It's the good halogen. It blocks the fluoride, the chlorine, the bromide, the bromine, all that. At least it has in my body. It's pulled it out.